Oh, hello. Hello, are you here for an appointment? Yes. Can you let me know your name? I don't remember having an appointment today. Okay, let me look for you. And that's first and last, yes? Yes. Okay. Oh, I see you. Right here. Just so I can make sure it's you I'm speaking to, can you recite me your date of birth, please? Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so, you definitely didn't have an appointment today, but that's okay, we do walk-ins. Is this an emergency? Has something happened to, stress you specifically enough to come see us at such hours in the morning? Oh, wow. Oh, no, yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. I could only imagine how difficult that must be for you. Okay. Okay. That certainly is an emergency. Let's get your vitals real quick. I'm just gonna make sure you're doing all right physically before I check in mentally, because physical health is also vitally important and codependent on your mental health and vice versa. So I'm just gonna ask you to look into this light for me, please. Just hold still. I'm just gonna be looking into your eyes, making sure everything looks good. Mm-hmm. All right. Everything seems fine for now, for the most part. All right, maybe a bit of delay, a bit of mm, rest, could we say? Okay, I'm just gonna bring the light in and out. I'm gonna check if your eyes dilate properly. Just hold still for me, please. Okay, and light, 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 light. Okay, definitely seems fine for the most part. Like I said, a bit of a hiccup, might you say? But nothing to worry about. Pretty understandable given your circumstances. All right, I'm gonna ask you to hold your arm out for me, please. I'm just gonna check your blood pressure real quick. Yep. All right, let me strap you up real quick. There you are. And just hold still for me. Just rest your arm. And so, oftentimes with grief, right, and losing such a close loved one in your family, it can be very scary, very intimidating, very frightening. It might evoke a sense of panic, right? That might be why you decided to come visit us at such hours, but I can assure you, you're completely safe right now. You're doing amazingly. Right, you're staying calm and collected. Okay, 120 over 80, perfect. So, all your vitals seem to check out, which is great. Now, I noticed in your report, you were sort of, glorifying a bit, perhaps just subtracting away from the scope of influence that your mother had on your life, your upbringing, your youth. And I just kind of just want to take notice of that, bring up a point. I know when we lose such close loved ones, we can often feel guilty, we can often feel, disappointed almost in ourselves. We might think we owed them something, we might think they weren't as bad, we might think we took advantage of the time we had, anything along those lines. These are completely normal, healthy, and natural responses to grief. I just want to, sort of remind you, though, of how do I say, invasive your mother was on your feelings, your growth, how nearly debilitating she was in many aspects. And you're referring to her in such a respectful manner almost, which is just so polar opposite of how we've referred to her before. And again, I understand how horribly dreadful and frightening and scary this can be, losing such a integral part of your life in so many ways. I just want to remind you though, I'm looking through just some of the things you listed off, right? She wasn't, um, how do I say this? It might not be as great a loss as you might once have thought, right? Perhaps this might be one of those blessing in disguises, because this was, and I'm so sorry to speak illy of the dead, but a truly vile woman, yes. And I just do not feel comfortable enabling such harmful and invalidating thinking. Not at all. So I wanna take this moment to do an exercise and kind of just look at her in a different light, instead of as a child, as a child-parent relationship, instead as just a person, right? So I want to ask you of if you can recount your, if you could just refer to her by your mother's maiden name, if that would be at all possible. You think? You don't see that that's necessary? No, I can understand completely the caution and the confusion and why I would bring such a thing up. I think when we're thinking about parents, it can be very easy and very comfortable to sort of validate and validate and justify their actions, and invalidate and dismiss our feelings, our true feelings on a situation. We think that, oh, they are our parents, they it couldn't have been that bad, something along those lines, right? We can fall into that thinking. I think when we strip by referring to her by her maiden name and not by the name you've known her as all your life, you're stripping her of that title, you're removing that power of parenthood from her, and you're just looking at her as an individual, as a human being, not as your mother, but as some stranger that you just met. And I think doing that, it might better help keep clear the scope and the malice behind her actions, right? So her maiden name, if you could just recite it for me. Yeah. Okay. And how does it feel to just kind of not refer to her as mom, or the maybe even her first and last name that you knew her as, but as this name you never even known her as, never referred to her, never heard her referred to as, nothing like that. Does it feel different? Does it feel like you are maybe referring to someone else? Is it a bit easier to look at her actions, her behaviors, her and your past through a bit more of a neutral lens? Is it a bit easier to just kind of not have such an emotional reaction, perhaps? Brilliant, beautiful. No, that is so great to hear. Okay, so your mother, well, not your mother, this woman. I'm going through some of these things. She wasn't always very empathetic towards your cause, or maybe just not in a typical way. She had her own ways of showing love and compassion and showing how she spent her time and energy towards you. Um, she had a bit of, I don't want to, you know, steer your thinking here, but she treated you horribly. And I think it's important that we hold on to just parts, just bits of that anger, maybe that sadness, that resentment. Any feeling is valid here, and it's important that we don't dismiss them. It's important that we don't suppress them or quell them, especially in such vulnerable times, right? It's always good to be honest with ourselves, to look at the whole picture and not just a section that is most comfortable, that is most seamless, right? This one incident sticks out to me mostly. Um, she, y'all had a pet, right? Your very first pet, your very first dog. And it was your responsibility, correct, to take care of this animal. You made it a point, if you got a dog, you would take care of it. And she held you to it. You had a good structure, a good schedule. You were doing pretty good. But one morning, the dog, she peed inside, and maybe you just didn't see it before you were going to school. Maybe you saw it and you were in a rush. Maybe you were late. Who knows? But your mother saw it fit and unacceptable that she took the animal in front of you. Once you got home from school, she sat you down in the backyard. She took your very first pet, and she burned it alive in front of you. And I think maybe we could look at that and just perhaps come up with better solutions to the issue of finding some urine in the kitchen that maybe should have been cleaned before. I think just not even saying she did anything wrong here, but just more productive ways to resolve this, I think would be a great first step towards kind of just better understanding the scope and the actions and the effects that were had on you as a kid. Now, I think a great way of beginning this is if you could remember the dog's name. I think sort of just individualizing this animal and not thinking of it as so much a pet, an object, but as a living being that your mother decided was not even necessary, but just used to make a point, and she took its life in front of you on that horribly traumatic incident. And I think it's just important to look at that individual, that animal, that living being, and just realize the cruelty, the malice, the malevolence that your mother was capable of, not only even towards you, but towards someone that was very important to you, but not even she shouldn't have had jurisdiction over, let's say. Right? So do you think you could remember its name at all? No? No, that's understandable. Again, it was an extraordinarily painful memory, I'm sure. We do... The fact that you can't remember, it's not atypical. It's not an issue in any means. It is a hindrance towards your growth, though. And I think we should take a moment, take an exercise to try and, sort of build up this muscle in our brain to remember things. So I have this fun little game I like to play with my patients, right? I have these little baggies, right? They have little animals on it. And we're just gonna play a memory game, right? So I'm gonna show you them as I bring them up. And we're just gonna try and remember everything that we can for as long as we can, right? So you can choose any one. We have a little horned lizard, a climbing little gecko. You can even choose the burned carcass of your first canine. We have a little monitor lizard. So many. I think you should follow. I think it might be just most productive to follow this dog first. Or we'll start with two. We'll start two little bags. We have the dog, and we have your lizard. All right. I'm just gonna flip them over, and I'm just gonna spin them around. Okay. And while I'm spinning them around, and as you're watching where this dog might be, where it might end up, I want you to kind of just let your thoughts flow. Just really, every entrance that you have in your mind, just kind of follow it for a bit, see where it takes you, see if there's any meaning behind it, any weight, any information, right? If you could at all remember the properties of your dog, the titles even, what you might have referred to it as, any one of these would be beautiful to recuperate from your mind, right? So I'm gonna hold these two, right? And you can choose the left one or the right one. And if you get it right, you'll get some candy. We're gonna positively reinforce this, physically reinforce the process of going back and remembering. And if you get it wrong, well, unfortunately, you're just gonna have to live with the crushing despair of knowing that your cerebral capacity is indeed withering away in front of you. So, I'm just gonna flip them over. Just tell me which one the dogs are, okay? And right? We're just gonna move on. We're gonna introduce three now. And I want you to still follow the dog. We're gonna follow the same procedure, right? And I just want you to, I'm gonna flip them over. Kind of just allow your thoughts to flow. Follow them, allow them to breathe. Multiple if you can, but you know, singular if that's all you can muster. But again, just a real simple task. And we're not doing anything crazy here. We're not, so sorry. I have a bit of a cold, but we're just keeping it really simple. Just kind of allow yourself to think, to ponder, to inquire, to research, to recuperate, to recite, anything like that, okay? Now, I'm gonna flip these over one by one. We have the middle, the left, the right. And remember, anything you can remember, even just remembering where these are and following them correctly is beautiful progress. So we have the horned lizard, we have the climbing gecko, and we have the foraging monad lizard. No, I'm sorry, I'm afraid there was never a dog. It was only the lizards. Might you be misremembering already? There was never a dog. No, I asked you to recount your dog, to remember any information you could about it. I never showed you a dog though. This is troubling. Give me one moment. Okay. Do you think let's move on to a different item in your past. Do you think you could recite to me perhaps the elementary school you went to? Maybe if we look deeper into your childhood, we might be able to come up on some things that might spark your interest, jog your memory, anything like that. So the name of your elementary school, do you think? Okay. And do you know the address? You do not. No, that's okay. I can find it. All right. Some other things, right? Did you remember anything suddenly walking down the halls of your elementary school? No, nothing. You don't remember anything from elementary. That's perfectly okay and reasonable and acceptable and normal and healthy and valid. That is completely sensible. Do not worry. Do you think you can remember perhaps just some simple things? Your favorite food as a child? Do you think you could remember that at all? You cannot. That's okay. What about perhaps your favorite teacher in school? No, you don't remember anything at all. No, that's completely fine. How about moving away from the school, the education, anything like that? Even just your favorite place to go on vacation? Do you think anything sort of popping out at you there? Nothing at all. Again, so this is a classic, it's not expression, but just example almost of what we like to call suppression. When many of these memories and thoughts are tied so closely to such negative and visceral imagery and emotions and memories, we tend to push them down and forget them as a way of coping and moving forward and moving on, which is great that your body is doing that for you. It's great that you've already taken steps. Of course, you had no help back then, so you did exactly what you knew how, and that's all you could do. You were so perfectly brave and brilliant and beautiful for being so mature in your decisions. Unfortunately, this does bring a bit of a hurdle for me, but that's okay. Let's move on to something a bit more recent, a bit more prevalent in your life nowadays, right? Do you think you can recite a possible? No, you should have been using this all your life, right? It's gonna be a 4-digit code number, and it's typically attributed at birth, but it follows you all throughout your life. You're often asked to recite it multiple times. You're not sure what I'm talking about. No, that's okay. It's so 9 digits in total, but they typically only ask for the final 4 digits. It is, you'll have a little card for it, it'll have your little name on it, it's how the government tracks you, all that. Sometimes you'll get a check through it. I am talking about your social security number. If you think you could just recite that for me, you don't think that's necessary, you find it suspicious, no, that's completely valid and understandable. I just would like to use, like, I understand, right? I'm coming at you with such personal questions. Let me remind you, we've been seeing each other for a very long time now. I'm sure you don't remember that. Yeah, of course you do not. Lining up with everything else we see today. Again, grief can cause and elicit very different reactions, different behaviors out of all of us. Because I'm looking through your file, and it's not that you have a pattern, not that you have a recurring issue or anything like that, but you do tend to perhaps forget certain things. And I just want to urge you the vitality and urgency that this sort of documentation can bring towards this case for us, towards this meeting, towards this resolution that we're striving for, right? I understand that you might not feel comfortable divulging such legal information, but I assure you, you are safe here. You are perfectly in great hands, really. We would never do anything to threaten you, to threaten your safety, to threaten your financial freedom, responsibility, anything of that sort. We're here to help you, and that is all. So if you could just recite to me your social security number, and we could just look into the system, get a bit of a background check on the fly. I'm sure you would be very interested. I personally would be. When they ask me for background checks, I'm almost tempted to ask them for the results myself. But yeah, just the 9-digit code, if you could. Beautiful, beautiful, brilliant. Thank you so much. You're so brave for divulging that information to us. Okay. So let me just look through our records real quick. Interesting. So I'm reading here about your family, about you, your medical history especially. There seems to be a bit of a pattern here, a bit of a shared history among your members with dementia. I don't know if you don't even remember anything like that in your family. That makes sense. Don't worry though. We have this brilliant program. I know you don't have dementia. I know it is a very scary thought. I would just like to prepare you with possible solutions, possible measures you can take should something occur. We're going to be seeing each other a bit more frequently, most likely. But just want to give you some procedures that you can undergo should it ever develop, should it ever flare up. Again, not saying you have it, of course. There's this one beautiful procedure that you can take right now. Very seamless, very easy. We put you under basically laughing gas, and it kind of just withers away those walls, kind of lets your brain flow. We can maybe get access to a bit more of this information that we're kind of searching for to help you push past this very treacherous, very difficult time of grief and mourning. I think it's a very beautiful, very non-invasive, very simple procedure. Again, it's basically just laughing gas that we put you under for like 5 minutes maybe, and then we just simply kind of ask you questions, and you kind of get to subconsciously answer, right? There's nothing holding back, there's nothing repressing you, your thoughts just kind of flow. You'd be interested in that? Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold this mask up for you, alright? Just hold still for me. I'm just gonna ask you to breathe in and breathe out, okay? Breathe a nice breathe in. And a nice breathe out. Beautiful, brilliant, beautiful. In through your nose, out through your mouth, and just kind of continue this. Excellent, excellent. Now, how are you feeling? A bit, freer, a bit lighter? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, I just gave you sedatives, right? It should take about 2 minutes to take place, but, we are looking at absolute onset of dementia. I hate to tell you this. Now, I didn't want to tell you why you were lucid, why you were, sober, in fear of you freaking out, for you in fear of you leaving, because we can't legally hold you here, not as of yet. Maybe if we were at a hospital, an emergency room, but instead you came to my office, which is a bit more of a hurdle for me, again, though it is perfectly fine, perfectly reasonable. Now, we kind of want to root this out as soon as we can. We have this brilliant procedure, as I said, and it just kind of marks out, a bit of a, oh dear, I seem to have misplaced my tools. Give me one moment, please. Okay, seem to have found my tools here. You might have blacked out there for a second, and simply the sedative's taking effect. Now, again, do not worry, do not fret, do not panic. I know you were already in a bit of a sense of one, but you are safe, you are fine, you are calm. It's okay. We're okay? Okay. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and prep you for what I like to call a bit of an invasive procedure. I know I said Quite the opposite, though. I fear I have deceived you. Um, we're gonna go ahead and, basically just prep you for brain surgery. Because, like we said, the sooner we take action, the more effective this procedure will be. And maybe we could possibly recoup some of that very vital information that I need from you. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and, shave off a bit of the situation going on your hand, right? Don't mind me, Ermin. Perfectly still. Of course, you probably can't move by now, but again, you're safe, you're fine, nothing's gonna happen. We're just trying to help you out the best we can. Okay, so just stand still for me, and we're just gonna go ahead, shave all this off for you. Just stay still. Don't try and squirm away, please. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're just gonna go on behind. Get all this off, really. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I have not met a better patient yet. Okay, that's most of it off. Maybe we missed a few more spots, but it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Now I'm just gonna go ahead, take this marking device, right? And go ahead and just like stitch out a rough kind of outline of what we're gonna do while you're eventually asleep. You should be getting there hopefully soon. But yeah, we're just gonna dot out some lines here, just draw an X there. Get behind under the eyes just in case we need excess, right, on the forehead. Yep, beautiful. All right, get a bit of a fade there, maybe a lightning bolt. I'm gonna shave your head, of course, but I don't want you to look repugnant. Wouldn't want you to look defiling or hideous or vile, and not like your mother. Never that. We would never want you to repeat exactly what you had to go through. That's exactly what we're trying to avoid and prevent at this establishment. Okay, so your sedative should be kicking in now. Your eyes are definitely unresponsive, yeah. So just again, you're safe, you're fine, nothing will happen. Just allow yourself to doze off. And we'll see you when you wake up. Beautiful.